Something strange is happening inside the United States economy right now. The most unsettling part is not what people see, but what they don't. There is no crash, no panic, no dramatic headlines. Everything still looks functional, and that is exactly why this moment matters. Throughout history, the most damaging economic shifts never begin with chaos. They begin with quiet changes in behavior, when systems stop responding the way they were designed to. Right now, the United States economy is reacting in ways that feel subtle but deeply abnormal. Good news creates discomfort. Stability demands constant intervention. Growth no longer feels natural, it feels managed. If that does not concern you yet, it should. Systems that require constant control are no longer stable, they are dependent. The United States economic system was built on feedback. When something overheated, pressure cooled it. When growth slowed, incentives revived it. Downturns were painful, but necessary, because they forced correction. Today, correction is avoided at all costs. Every slowdown is met with support. Every imbalance is softened. Every signal is delayed. Over time, this changes how the entire system behaves. Markets stop pricing real risk. Businesses plan around rescue instead of resilience. Individuals make long-term decisions, assuming the safety net will always be there. Ask yourself this. When was the last time the United States economy was allowed to fully absorb a shock without immediate intervention, without emergency tools, without temporary measures that quietly became permanent? What looks like protection in the short term often becomes fragility in the long term. This is where things get uncomfortable. The system is no longer responding to reality, it is responding to expectations. Expectations that someone will step in, expectations that losses will be contained, expectations that instability will never be allowed to surface. When expectations replace fundamentals, behavior changes. People take risks they normally wouldn't. Institutions stretch further than they should. Policymakers are forced into tighter corners, doing more each time to achieve the same effect. Ask yourself this. Have you noticed how the scale of response keeps increasing? How tools once considered extreme are now routine? How words like emergency, extraordinary, and temporary are used so often they have lost their meaning? That is not progress. That is adaptation. Adaptation sounds intelligent until you realize the system is adapting to preserve appearances, not to function efficiently. This phase is dangerous precisely because it feels calm. Nothing is visibly broken. Daily life continues. Numbers still move. Headlines still sound reassuring. Once that ability is gone, removing support does not restore balance, it exposes weakness. Systems do not snap back to normal, they drift away from it, slowly and quietly, one intervention at a time. Here is another question worth asking. How long can stability last when it depends more on confidence than on structure? Confidence does not erode gradually, it disappears suddenly. History shows the longest periods of artificial calm often come right before the sharpest adjustments, not because warning signs were absent, but because they did not feel urgent at the time. Think about this. If the economy now requires intervention during good times, what happens during bad ones? If support is already the baseline, what is left when conditions truly deteriorate? Most people are taught to watch for crashes, not shifts. Crashes are outcomes, shifts are causes. By the time outcomes arrive, the decisions that created them are long past. The real danger is not that something breaks tomorrow, it is that the system is slowly losing flexibility, the ability to respond without force, the ability to correct without fear. When flexibility disappears, pressure does not release, it builds silently until adjustment becomes unavoidable. If you study past economic cycles, this phase always looks unremarkable in the moment, even boring. Later, it is remembered as the point where behavior changed, incentives warped, and balance quietly slipped away. The question is not whether the United States economy looks strong today. The question is whether it is becoming reliant on conditions that cannot last, and whether people will recognize the difference between stability and dependence before that difference matters. If you want to understand what is happening beneath the surface, Before headlines change tone, before consequences become unavoidable, this channel exists for that reason. Stay connected, subscribe, and keep questioning. Because the most important economic changes are never announced, they unfold quietly while most people are not paying attention.